Hi everyone, it's Kim here. Welcome to my channel. So, I started making more of what I'm calling these removable page edge paper clips. Okay, and once I got started, I can't stop. And it's not making my pink pile go down any further, as you can see. But they're so cute. And here's one I did kind of in a boho style. So I thought I would show you how I do these ones, or how I'm doing them now, because I'm going to do a few more. But they're really nice along the edge of a page. So I have part of the paper clip is glued inside, and I'll show you how I did that in case you missed the other video. And you just slide it on your page. Now, if I had a journal, of course, I would just slide it onto a journal page. But just to show you, I've just got a piece of paper here. Now, these ones I made where all of this fabric was just glued up at the top with this little motif on here so that you could see the pretty paper that was underneath, because this was just a strip in my scrapbooks box. And on the back side, you actually could write a little hidden message there. But keeping it as a paper clip, what's nice is that it decorates the edge of your page, and it can also clip things in and hold things in place. So yeah, I've just been making them and playing, and I'm having fun. Although it'll take me a month of Sundays before I'll finish using them all, or using up all my pink fabric. Not a chance. But here's the little boho one. I'll just put it on the page. And I'm using these boho images I have in my collection of prints, and they're in my coffee shop. The kit has, I think there's 48 different designs, and then I give you print layouts in a variety of sizes. So this size was actually, there's 16 to a page here, but what I did is I shrunk them down to fit 2 pages onto 1 page so that they were a smaller size. So your print, just check with your printer, I'm sure you can do that. So yeah, I just, I was playing in this boho stuff, so I figured I'm going to keep going. And I liked how these turned out. And then this was the one that started the whole thing, because I had 2 strips of cardboard left over when I was making the boho tassels, if you watched my boho tassel video. And so there again, it just clips onto the page. If you haven't watched my boho tassel video, you do want to go back and watch and see how I made this, because you will get quite a kick out of it. It's just pieces of scrappy bits as how this got made. But yeah, these were fun. I still have a piece of that ruffle left. And, I might hoard it for a while, but I'll probably use it up somewhere along the way here as I'm going along. But I was getting a little bored of this in the end. So yeah, that's what I'm making, and I'm just using little bits of scrapbook paper to make them. I've already started doing these ones, and all I did was I folded over the one piece on the paper clip and glued the smaller piece inside. Now this one was the only one, I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing, but this is the only one that I made that comes from the left side. So I would have to put it on the back side of a page this way once I'm finished decorating. But that's the only one I've done it that way. I seem to go towards the right, which is what I'm doing here. So I'm just using some leftover scrapbook strips, which we have no shortage. I don't know why we have leftover strips, but that's what I'm using. And I'm just going to grab a paper clip, just in case you haven't watched the other videos. And with this one, I think I can use a large paper clip. Yeah, I can. I'm going to make a large one here. So all I did was I folded it down, I don't know, about 1.5 inches, just enough to cover where you're going to glue your paper clip down. And there was no rhyme or reason to size, the width, length. I did sort of a half of a 12 by 12 or something like that. Now this one is a little bent out of shape, so I'm going to use it the other way so that it's tighter. And I just put the smaller end of the paper clip inside. And I just positioned it, because I think I've positioned it so that there's a little bit sticking out. Oh, see, now that would be on the opposite side too. Okay, so I have to go this way. Got to remember these things. Oh, no, this way. You'll have to play around with yours to see which way to put it in. So my thought process was that, you know, I would leave it sticking out a little bit so that I could possibly dangle things if I wanted. So all of these, you can see the end of the paper clip here where I can put a dangle, a bead or a gem or something, or a bulb pin hanging down, some chain. So that is still a possibility on all of these. So I've left it sticking out and just put it a good portion into that little folded piece so that I can get glue all the way around it and glue it down. Now I'm using my hot glue. You may choose to use your tacky glues, your Fabri-Tac, your glitter glues, whatever you like. But hot glue works for me. It works fast. The only thing is this paper clip is super hot which is amazing because I stick my fingers in glue all the time, and while it's warm, doesn't seem to burn me. But the paper clip is very hot. And so this just creates my surface now to work on. On the first two I worked on this side. I did it the opposite way so that you couldn't see any of the rough edges. But then this is nice scrapbook paper. I thought maybe you could write a note or, embellish it further on that side if you wanted. I could have left this because it's quite neutral. I could have flipped it and decorated on this side instead, and then left this very nice, just having the paper clip show on this side. But it doesn't really matter. This is the back side of it anyway, and I can still write a note on there. So then it was just a matter of choosing something in my stash, which is what I've been doing, is grabbing something to put over top. Now, because this is scrapbook paper, I wasn't really concerned if I covered it or not completely because, it's pretty, but this is pretty basic, so I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to trim it out at this fold here. And you can see there's no real measurement. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, we'll cover it up with something else. So there's my piece. I'm just going to glue this down. Because this is very plain paper, I'm going to glue the whole thing down. On the couple of them there, I left it loose so that you could lift it up and see the paper inside underneath. I guess I could have done that with this one too. There's a little bit of that lining sticking out. I'm just going to trim that off. And it does go a little bit beyond the page, but we'll see at this point what I want to do with it. But going back to this one, I didn't glue them down to the paper because the paper was so pretty, and I thought, again, you could write a note inside there as well as write a note on the back side. And I also left this little design sticking out here because I thought that's sort of like a little tab or a marker on your page if you want to use it as that. And you could even enhance this further by adding more dimension and more things sticking out on it so that you can actually see that it's a tab. I'm just putting this there to show you, but that's not exactly what I meant or what I wanted to do. So then from here, it's whatever I have to build with, because I have this. And I like to show you that I just work on the fly. I don't sit and think about it, because the more you think about it, the longer it takes to get anything done. I am just making this work so that it'll fit. And we're creating shabby, or at least I am, creating a shabby look, and I don't care if there are loose threads hanging down. The whole idea is to create this vintagey looking piece. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue here and glue this down, again knowing that no matter what I put on top, it's going to cover any glue that's showing. In my last video, I had longer fingernails. This one, I just finished cutting them because they were driving me crazy. I don't like long fingernails, period. Especially for myself. And yeah, I don't like long fingernails on anybody. Sorry, it's just a pet thing. Just a little peeve. And especially I don't like painted ones. No offense to you, but I don't like painted fingernails either. Long, pointy, and you're doing this with your fingers. Yeah, it's one of those things. Anyway, I glued those down, and so I can continue to further enhance that. Now, whether I use this piece, no. I've got other things here in my stash that I can use. The whole point is to use what's here and not go and pick more things. But now I'm struggling a little bit just because I'm on camera. What's in here? I'm sure we could find something fun in here. There's always all kinds of bits. Well, there's some more of this tulle. And I don't really want to cover up completely. So I think I'm just going to make a mishmash here of just odds and ends. We'll come back to these images in a second, but this is just going to be a mishmash of odds and ends here. So I'm going to run a little bit of glue here. This is a great way to get burnt with your hot glue gun, so do be careful when you're doing this. I'm just kind of squishing it. Got my pokey tool here. And I will come back and add a little bit more and take some away in a second. This, you may not be able to see it on camera, but this is a very glittery tool. And I'm just bunching it up here, knowing that I'm going to cut some of this off. But this is how I like to work. I like to not think about it. I like to let things just happen organically as I'm going along without planning. Because sometimes, you know, sometimes when you make things, I did kind of make these ones a little bit more structured. Now that I've made one, I know what I want to do with it. But sometimes when you make things organic and one of a kind, it just is so much more fun. Okay, I'm going to tuck a little bit of glue in there and use my pokey tool to squish it down. The nice thing about using a metal tool like this is that when you do get a buildup of glue, you can usually just peel it right off. Now, because these are on the edge of your page, you don't necessarily want a lot of bulk, but I would only put one of these in a journal. I wouldn't put like 10. Even if I was doing more than one signature, I would do something else on another signature grouping just to create more interest. So you see how I've taken the whole end of this point and I'm just letting it fall into place, so it's kind of narrowing down here. And just again tucking a few more little spots here, knowing that I'm going to cover this up a little bit more. And so this is what it's looking like right now. I actually don't even mind this extra piece sticking out because that would be like a tab on your journal. But I think what I'll do is I'll just trim it round a little bit. So you can tell this is not something that I've just planned. I'm just going with the material that I have and using it to create as I go along. So this now is very interesting to me because it allows me to add something else that would flow on here as well. I have somewhere on here, I was working with a piece of gold. There it is. This is how I work. This makes me happy. So I have this gold. First I'm going to cut that off because I want to, I don't know if I can make this work or not, but we'll try. And just kind of fan that out a little bit. So it's like we're creating a little focal point here with this, but I want it to come out a little bit more because of that other trim underneath. So what will happen is putting this in the book, this will flatten down a little bit in between pages. Okay, so I got a plan here now. And I'm just going to run some glue right down where I think I want it to be and hope for the best. But it's not the end of the world if it doesn't work. Just make another one. I probably could do one more nice fold in there. Yes, I can. So this will act now like a little page tab once I have this totally glued down. That will stick out beyond the page. So this is what I mean when I say just let things happen, just play. You never know what's going to come from it. And then I have somewhere here, I have this gold glitter. I thought at first that I would run that along the center, but it's a little bit too much gold. So I have this copper one here. Does that look any better? Not exactly what I like. So I am on the spot here, but I'm going to keep thinking. I have several things. I have some flowers I could use. Yeah, too grandma-ish to me. Nope. Okay, flowers are not going to cut it. I have these chunky beads, or gems, I mean. And I also have some sequins in here that I used on maybe, maybe not. Okay, I'm trying to stay within what's on my table, so I'm going to look at one more spot here. Just give me 1 second. Let's see what I've got in here. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. I'm stuck. Okay, let's see. Maybe an image. Maybe that's going to do it. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay, we're going to use her instead. Now, this is cut out of paper. This is one of my boho images. So I'm going to back it with a little bit of paper. And since I have some of the very same paper here, I'm going to use that. It's not really to frame the picture, although I am framing it a little bit. It is more to give it a little bit more stability. Now, I had already inked around the edges of these papers. Okay, so this is just making it a little bit more sturdy. I'm just going to trim it a little closer to the image. So I am framing it a little bit. And then I'm just going to take the little nubs off of the ends here because I don't like those. And just ink up the edges a little bit. I know you guys never ever see me actually dip my brush into the ink, but I do. It's just I want it to be very subtle. I don't want much on here. Okay, so let's put her in there. What a difference that makes already, right? Okay, so I'm going to now hot glue her in, and this will hold all of those pieces together. That are underneath. Okay, so now I do need to tie in a little bit more of that gold that's on here. So maybe these flowers would work down here if I put them on the side. I think I like that. What do you think? Spaced 1, 2, and 3. Too much. I only like 2. Not everything has to be in 3s. Everybody tells you that, but that's not true. Not everything has to be in 3s. That's good just like that. But, you know, because it's boho and I love lots of flu and stuff, we've got to add a little bit of fibers in here as well. So let's see if we can add some interest on that. Maybe we will bring back the third flower. Okay, I'm going to add this color too. So that gives us 2. I don't really want to take away from that, from the point that I have here with the netting. So just tie this in a knot. Still thinking. So I've cut another little square of this. I don't really want much. That's too much. Okay, going to cut that short. And I'm going to use that same netting under both of these flowers. So a little bit there. And it's nearly impossible to glue that netting on, so I'm just going to put a dot of glue that will go through that netting and attach this flower. It's a sequin, plastic sequin. Now, I could go as far as adding a little gem in there, but I think there's enough going on in here to not. Now, I just added a little bit of that gold underneath. I don't want much. It's just to give it a little bit of a background. And this gold comes off of a roll of your Christmas ribbon. Now, I started out with a piece that big from the roll, so about 4 inches long. So be on the lookout for your Christmas ribbons that you can get for next to nothing at the thrift shops. Maybe not so much now because Christmas is coming, but when it's not Christmas, you see all these leftover bits, or you see pre-made bows, because people make bows for their tree and then instead of storing them, they throw them away. So this is the time to pick up those things and re-roll, untie the bows and re-roll them into usable pieces that you can use for your art. Now, these are really glittery pieces. I wouldn't use this much glitter stuff in my regular work, but when I'm doing boho journals, I tend to like to add a little bit more glitz and bling and those kinds of things to my stuff. So that's where this will come in, is when I do a boho journal. Okay, so the gold just frames this a little bit more. It allows you to see the ribbon underneath. And I've layered all these pieces. It's really not that thick. It's really quite thin. And let's see how it looks on a page. So I'm just, I'm using the folded side only because it's easier for me to slide it on right now. And that is my glittery paperclip. So I'm, now I've got some edges showing here. I can go back and trim this down so that you don't see the white card there. Or I can add another layer of braid or another layer of netting or a piece of lace along here. But this is just pretty much to show you how I worked with that piece of tulle to make it work for this. I wanted a very light, airy layer over top, knowing that I was still going to build on it. So that is one of the paper clips I'm making. And then the other ones are these ones here. And I've already, what a mess. I've already got the images cut out. Where's the other one? Don't give me a thumbs down because I can't find something on my desk. Please don't do that. You know what it's like. So I have two images here that I'm going to use for this. And I had this piece of, it's some type of a border, and that is something I would never use in a million years in my creations. But I did love the green, so I cut a piece, because you can't tell it's her feet or her legs. And that was how I made the other one. And it was just to give it the strength and a little bit of a scallopy edge along the top and bottom. Just so you know that there's other ways of using this stuff. I was going for color and stability, not for the image. And so yeah, I will eventually use this whole thing up. For some images, it'll be orange in the background, but that's all it's doing until I get to the end. And there's no way you'll even see her hand. You won't be able to tell it's a hand. You wouldn't be able to tell it's her face or her hair. So that's how I use those things up. And then again, these are all inked already because I did them before the camera turned on. I've been playing here since I did my other videos, and you will have watched my other videos before you see this one, so you'll know that this is all stuff that was on my desk before I got started. So and this is why when I do stuff, I usually do a pile of it all at once. And they'll change as I go along. This was just 2 strips that I had, and so I figured, well, I'll do the same thing on the 2 of them, but they'll be maybe slightly different. I don't know. Here's the one I did at first. I used a little bit of those fibers and some more of those sequins and glitter. So we'll do the same thing again, but I got to ink this up a little bit. And maybe you can't see the ink that's on here, but there is ink, and it's really just to cover that white edge, and just to show you that there is ink on my brush. There it is, inked on the back. So doing the same for this one. I will have to open up the ink very soon and re-ink it, but then it's too juicy. Then I don't like it with too much. I really don't want much on here. Okay, so again, I'm just going to add these images on. I'm adding them on sort of an angle. I don't really like them super straight. Oh, I need more glue. Some of you ask me about my glue gun. Now, I'm not an affiliate for Amazon. That's another issue. But I did get it on Amazon. It's called a Sure Bonder. So I'm sure you can find it on Amazon or some of the other local online shopping places. It's a really nice precision glue gun. Actually, Tom bought it for me for Christmas. I just picked it up. That's all. That was one of my Christmas presents from Santa. Speaking of Santa, I just got a message from Cara Brandon, from Cara Brandon Creations, I think. When I started doing YouTube 3 years ago, she was one of the first people that I was in contact with, and I did her Let's Get Organized 2022. And so she has invited me to join her Let's Get Organized 2025, which will be in January. And I'm going to do a full studio tour, but that's all I can tell you right now. I will know, as soon as I know more information, I will let you know. But that is the latest info. So here, what did I do? I did a row. I can't believe I'm actually doing this. I did a row of beads at the top and the bottom of each one of these. So I'm just cutting 3 pieces or 4 pieces. And that was just to break up the difference between the picture and the little extra edge that's here. I wanted to have the scallopy edge, but I didn't want the picture to be that long. Yeah, I just cut my fingernail, so I can't pick anything up. It's great for typing, though, if you have to type. And that just frames the picture a little bit. The green also frames it, so I really don't want to, I don't feel it necessary to cover up the edges here to away from the picture so that you can't see the edges. So this is just enough to give it a little bit of a color boost. And a little there. And then I took the copper ones. They're here on the table somewhere. At the end of the video, I will take the camera and I will... Coming soon. They're a long strand. How could I lose them on this table? Apparently I did. Okay, well, we will work without them. So the other thing that I did was I added a couple of little squares of this glitter ribbon to the top here. And then I took 3 of these different fibers. Isn't that hilarious? I can't find that cord. Right after I've turned off the camera, I'll find it. And I'm going to use this one. I just made a small little grouping of 3. And I didn't want to put a knot in these ones because I didn't want the bulk here. So I'm just going to lay this here for now and do the other set at the same time. So normally I wouldn't do this matchy-matchy stuff, but it's only for a few, and I'd rather see these done than worry about that they're too much the same, because it's not like I'm going to use them in the same journal. And then I took another piece of this gold. Oh, I had one already cut here. Oh. And so I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue here to hold these strands in place. I don't want to touch it too much. I don't want it to seep through. And then same with this one. A little bit of glue there. And this way, I'm just laying them flat into the glue, so there's not that big knot there, but it looks like it's knotted together, but it's not. It's not knotted. Not knotted. And then I'm going to just lay this on top as well, because that covers the, the top of this thing. And then what I did is I took some of those sequins. Still looking for that copper wherever it went to. That is hilarious. Okay. And I did some gold ones again. But let's change it up. This has got green in it, so I'm going to use some green ones. Now, I may come back after the camera's off and add a little gemstone in the middle of these. In fact, I will for this one for sure, because I'm going to just use a piece of that gold. But holding the sequin up first, I just put enough glue on here that it will seep through this mesh to the bottom, and that will hold everything secure without me getting burnt. And I just press this into place with my pokey tool. And while the glue is still hot, I'm just going to use my wet finger and stick that into the center of the sequin, because there is glue seeping through that little hole. So that finishes that one off. And now I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm just going to put a little bit of hot glue there through the netting, so that will hold the netting onto the lace, which will hold it onto the paper. And then I'm putting this on top. And I'm going to quickly cut this and pin this, or push this down. And then take my glue, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but the glue has seeped through that little hole, and I will push this into the glue. And that's the safest way to do this. And there is my new paper clip. Now I can ink around the edges of the paper clip if I want. And there is my boho paper clip. It is fairly flat. It's not super flat, but it's fairly flat. So this will sit very nicely on your journal page. So if I just slide this along here. I'm trying to go through 2 pages. It's easier, to put it on the page. Oh, yeah, the wrong end, Kim. Yeah, this is the one that I made the opposite way. Phew, that saved me. So this one goes, now we would want it to come up here. So it's a repositional paper clip or page edger that you can use on your page as a paper clip. It's decorative. It can almost be a tab on a page, but it does finish off your page. So if you've got a very plain page, this is a great way to dress it up. You can also use it on the other side, because it's got the clip on the other side, so you can add different papers to that side as well. And of course, the more things you tuck in, the tighter it's going to be, and the tighter it's going to fit. Oh, here's my, nope, that's not my paper. Yeah, I don't have a piece of paper. Here we go. So I hope this gives you some further ideas of what you can do and how you can dress up your pages without too much effort. And again, a great way to use up some scraps, but at this rate, I've got 1,000 of these to make. But I always do these things like I can, whenever I can, on the fly, so that you make one-of-a-kind pieces and you just live with the decision that you make. It's just that easy. Did I not glue that? Was I going to glue one down? No, I didn't on this one. But yeah, they're all going to be slightly different. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you'll make some of these movable page edges, is what I'm calling them, with a paper clip, and have some fun creating. Have yourself a wonderful creative day and a creative week, and I look forward to seeing you all soon. Bye for now.